Alright, what's up? We got a patch 9.22 rundown. We're going to go over these real quick. I know they've already been out for a while. I know it's been like 2, 3 days, but it's still stuff that, is worth looking at. I haven't personally looked at these, so again, this will be something where it's first time for me. I'll give you my thoughts on them. So this is something you might look at as well when you're trying to think of a new champion to play on this patch if you're looking for something else. Or if, you know, your champion got nerfed and you want to know what you want to do with them. So, anyways, for the 5 people that are playing Ashe right now, her W cost got increased. Her early game harass is feeling a little more compelled to capitalize on slow rather than throwing out. Okay, so one of the big builds for Ashe right now is she's going Arcane Comet and she's maxing her W. And it just quickly whittles you down. And is saying they don't like that because they want to make sure that she's using the volley to keep you slowed and just in kiting range so she can just constantly whittle you with her auto attacks instead. So basically, they're just putting a damper on that ability and that kind of playstyle. I don't think this will fix too much past like the first levels, but that's pretty important for Comet Ashe, anyways. So I think that this actually might kill the build. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. For now, we'll just mark that as a medium change. I also think that. Oh, geez, I'm not sure if that's healthy or not. I can't really make a good call on it. I just know it's really obnoxious. Anyways, Blitzcrank. Base damage is decreased 10 to 30. Okay, so Blitzcrank is one of those champions. He's a pull champion. Anytime you get a pull champion, their combos are pretty lethal. Base damages do not fix that nearly as much, unless for some reason the guy can't hit his Qs. So I don't think this really changes much besides low elo games. It's pretty inconsequential. Ivern got some bug fixes in 9.21. Will now always dash into melee range. Okay, when he got his auto attack range, he got it changed because it felt counterintuitive to have 2 ranges on it. However, they weren't sure if they wanted it to put him into his auto attack range or in melee range. This changes that, so now he's always going to be in melee range. And I think that's really strong for the champion, so that's pretty good. Ivern would land inside some jungle camps when dashing with his Q. Interesting. And then, yeah, this is just bug changes. The leave room for Daisy, the melee range one, that really looks like it'll be nice. Everything else doesn't matter too much. All right, Kaisa. This is a good one. Okay, now Kaisa has only been meaningfully nerfed 3 times since her inception. Okay, the first was when they nerfed her shield strength. I believe they nerfed her shield strength. Okay, the second was when they nerfed. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. They nerfed the execute damage on her passive because she was building AP, like just flat AP. And this is the third meaningful nerf that Kai'Sa's gotten, okay? Because the thing is, like, when you have this champion that can output, like, just a passable amount of DPS, but has insane burst as a ADC, you just can't compete against that with most divers. I don't think, unless the champion was like Jax, like, you just couldn't pick these champions into Kaisa. Like, she was so strong to deal with, she was so dominant, and I know this probably is not the hugest change, but it's something, okay? So her overall burst is going down. I think it's a pretty good step in the right direction. I think her burst and having massive shield combo is way too strong for any one champion to have. It just creates a power imbalance where one ADC is just creeped up stronger than all the others. So maybe this wasn't too far, but it's a step in the right direction. Maybe it wasn't far enough, that's what I mean. Either way, I'm kind of happy they did that. Callista, let's see. Bonus damage on marked targets goes up 5% of targets, maximum health at rank 1. That's pretty big. I don't think you... Huh. No, no, no. You max this ability second, and then you max her Q last. I believe that's what it is. Let me check that quickly. Now keep in mind, it's really different based on. Okay. So people are maxing it last. So this is really impactful. If it was max second, it wouldn't be as impactful. But if you're getting 5% of the target's maximum health at all stages of the game, that's a pretty big damage increase. So 5% of 1,000 health is going to be 50 extra health. So early game, that's another 50 health on a target when you go in. Every time you go in, as long as both you and your Forsworn, whatever, hit them at the same time. So, and it's going up to 4 seconds. So this is going to be extremely potent trading ability if you have any sort of ranged matchup. I think they're trying to make sure that she's not stronger with a melee champion, because I know that with Xayah being so strong with melee champions and Callista being so strong with melee champions, that they're looking to fix that in some sort of ways, and I think they're trying to return the balance, because competitively, the E-Girl champions are not good right now. They're just flat out not that strong. And so, giving them a little extra damage, chipping away at some of the all-in champions damage. I think that's what they're trying to do right here. Either way, pretty good. I put her at least B tier right now. So, we might be seeing more Callista, which I hate to see. I hate Callista so much, dude. She always seems to get fed. Really gross. Kale. Kale's been a pick in pro play, I believe, because, yeah, you're seeing all the assassins and all the fighters get nerfed. You're seeing Conquer get removed next patch as well, so yeah, we're going to these late game scaling champions. Ludens isn't really strong right now. I've talked about this a million times on stream. So you're seeing all the non-Ludens champions, start to pop off. That would include patches before Corki and Azir, and now it's Kale. So they're just getting more nerfs to kind of support that cycle. Everything still feels kind of weak though, so I'm not too happy about these kind of changes, but yeah, let's see it. So she's more vulnerable early. Base damage is down by 30 at rank 5. That's pretty alright. She's gonna start bullying you around 6 or 7, or not bullying so much as trading back, and so this, kind of hurts that. And then her heal, this is the big one. You up the mana on the heal, making it harder to cast. This means she's harder to push, she's easier to push out a lane. That's what I like to see on any of these support type of champions that really hurts them. So it really cuts down all the room for error. Because if you trade badly and you have a heal or a shield, that's just going to give you more room to make sure that you can stay in lane anyways, even if you're bad at the champion or you're not prepared. This is going to make it so champion has a much harder time getting to work properly, and you have to be really, really good at the champion to make sure that you're, not getting bullied out constantly. So that'll actually hurt her. I don't think she'll be back mid upcoming patches. Malphite, R damage decreased. I don't know. I keep seeing people talk about AP Malphite. Personally, I have not seen it in my games really pop off. But people were always talking about it, and so it finally got nerfed. Again, I don't know how to feel about that, but that's a pretty big chunk to take out of it. Yeah, okay, they're nerfing that. The only thing I could really say is at least there's one more ult that Sylas is not going to be as ridiculous with. So, AP Rock is kill. However, I don't think Nautilus is dead. This is another one. It's not. It's the same thing as Blitzcrank. Okay, if we think about it, let's look at the Kale change. Okay, so we go down 20 base at rank 3. Now, the reason this works is because Kale is going to be maxing this ability first. I think. Don't quote me on this. Anyways, so if it's one of these champions where you're maxing it first and you're spamming it, like that 20 damage adds up over time. If I'm playing Ziggs and my Q gets nerfed by like 15 damage, that's 45 damage off 3 minions every time I throw the Q. That's 15 damage off my hits on you every time I throw a Q at you. Like, and it adds up. Like, this is damage that will, stick up over time. Nerfing 50 damage off an all-in is not nearly as impactful as you might think. Okay, because you have to wait till he's 6, so this is not going to impact his laning phase at all, right up until the point he's 6. Once you get to 6, you're only using this ult when the enemy either missteps or your jungler's there. If your jungler is there, 50 damage does not matter. They're going to die anyways, okay? And if it's an all-in, like, you're probably going to... You're playing with an ADC, and the ADC can do 50 damage. It's an extra auto attack. Like, this is not going to do nearly what they think it's going to do. Focusing this nerf on a patch on a damage that is more dependent on coordination. Like, I don't know. It's okay if you're playing like AP Nautilus mid or whatever, because it'll be harder to solo kill a person. But Nautilus has been just solo killing people at like level 4. It doesn't do anything about that. So stupid change if you ask me. I don't think that's going to do anything for him. Okay, let's see. Pantheon. Pantheon persists as an overly strong and banned champion. I don't know. He seems really simple to me. I don't know why people think he's strong. Maybe I'm just bad. I probably am bad. Anyways, so making changes to his kit that mostly impacts players in higher ranked games, mainly targeting his consistent damage, which would actually impact everyone, and wave clear, which would probably also impact everyone, not just higher ranked players. Okay, Comet Spear, minion damage reduction, 20 to 30%. Okay. Execute threshold, 20% of target's maximum HP to 25 to 20. Okay. I knew I was flubbing a number there. It doesn't do much. Okay. Shield Vault. No longer walking. Pantheon's dash speed is no longer increased from boots. That's an interesting one. That's new. Okay. So this makes it so that when Pantheon dashes on you, it's going to be just as slow as when he does it originally, and exaggerated, which means that you can interrupt him. This is a good change for targeting high-ranked players, not the other one. And the reason for this is because if you have any displacement CC or interrupts, this is going to, make it easier to land those spells, even on higher ping. Our pros play on 60, by the way. So this makes it so that it's very easy to interrupt him and, try to get out of there scot-free. I think this is actually going to be something that targets higher ranked players a lot better. But there's not a lot of champions with that in their kit, so we'll see. Overall, I don't even know if this is a good change. I really don't. I mean, I guess they're targeting the wave clear instead of his damage, so there's that. I don't like when a champion who only brings damage and like a stun to the table gets nerfed for their damage. It really just shows that like the people that it's targeting are bad players. Unless of course like it's someone whose damage is just way too high, but I really don't feel like Pantheon's damage is way too high. It's not overwhelming in the same way that a lot of champions' damage is. It's like if you look at someone like Qiyana. Qiyana was someone who had like really, really high damage that needed to be toned down. This guy's got high damage, but in its case, you look at it and you look at everything in his kit and you're like, okay, that's kind of warranted because, he doesn't do anything else, whereas Qiyana's got like a giant AoE stun and a big invisibility wall. Anyways, back on track. Sejuani. Sejuani's getting some base AD, health regen, and attack speed growth. Q damage increased later and an E bug fix. Okay. Didn't they just nerf Arctic Assault by that much? Like I could swear they I could swear this is something they've already done before, but in reverse. I feel like I've seen that nerf. Okay, attack damage up 2. It's going to be good for clearing. Health regen. That's going to be better later on. Attack speed, 3.5%. Okay, so they're making sure that she can proc that stun really well. And they're making sure that she scales up a bit better. I would rather see... I don't know. Would I like to see an early game buff? I think if they buffed her health regen and, you know, her ability to survive in the jungle, that would be... Huh. Nah, she's already easy enough to jungle. Buff her late game, I guess. I don't know. Sedge is a weird champion. Like Nunu, she's just an autofill champion, and you can't tell when she is or isn't good enough. Besides the fact that, because like if she's really good, she'll just pop off and do the stun stuff, and if she's like a bad champion at the time, she'll just pop off and do the stun stuff. There's really very little variance between a good and a bad Sejuani. Same with Nunu. Besides, of course, missing your skill shots. So I guess, you know, making sure that if they're good, they don't get burned down in the jungle. That's a fine indicator. Yeah, buffer late game. Oh, fixed. Properly resets its buff duration when applying at max stacks. Okay, bug fixes are always good. Yeah, I think if you're talking about a tank versus a carry jungler should be better early on. You know, after they hit their hump, because the hump is like the early levels where they're just not really good at the time. I think they should have like, you know, just a point where like the game's kind of difficult for them before getting to, you know, their crazy power spike. And so it's that mid game where tanks should really be relevant. And how much damage is that at rank 3, rank 4? It's not bad. Yeah, we'll see. And again, I think she maxes her Q. Let's double check on that. If she oh, she's at 44% win rate. That's so bad. Okay, skills. She maxes it second. So, okay, that's fine. You know, I guess that is a mid game buff. That's we'll see. All right, now let's move on. Silas. So overall power level drops. So we're getting him some general strength. Okay, so when we talk about a champion's regular strength or like low strength versus high elo strength, you're looking at a couple things. I think base stats are a really, really good way to make him feel better for like lower elos because he's just easier to pilot as a whole. Whereas, you know, adding new mechanics or adding strength to unreliable skills that high elo players have mastered is a better way to address issues with, you know, high level sort of things. So buffing his health regen early on and evening out his growth for later on, yeah. That'll work for, you know, bad size players. Magic resist goes up. That's a bit strong in general, so I don't know. Kingslayer is going to go down in mana as well. I guess they're just going to put a little power in it. This doesn't seem like it's going to be that impactful. I'll allow it, Riot. I'll allow it. Okay, Xayah. Yeah, besides Kaisa, Xayah needs to get some nerfs, and then Ezreal's getting nuked next patch. So, Xayah. Bonus attack speed is down 5% early on to 15% later on. Pretty simply, Xayah is a champion that does well at all stages of the game. She is a pretty strong laner, especially with her con, and then she scales up to be basically, yeah, a hyper carry. Her E makes her very strong into traditional team fights. Her R makes her strong when she's getting dove, and yeah, the bonus attack speed is gonna be insane. She just scales up really hard. So nerfing the late game DPS, that works. I I really like her E. I really like her burst potential with that. So making her less strong in the mid to late game, I think that's a good choice. So I'll give it to Riot. I think this is a pretty safe, pretty good option for nerfing Xayah. Bug fixes. We'll skip the bug fixes. I think that the thing is a bug fix that you know it should properly reflect how the champion should be played. And so if the champion becomes OP afterward, that's fine. The champion needed to be fixed, and then you can nerf something else to reflect its proper state. Because if there's something misleading about the champion that you didn't know about, and it's actively hurting like the player base, I'm fine taking like the bug fix and then hitting them with a nerf. I think that's pretty warranted. So, anyways, let's scroll back up. Let's look over these real quick. Also, I think that champion's gonna be kind of broke. Haven't given it too much look, but it already looks pretty insane having an ulti that's both global and that instantaneous. So we'll see when it comes out. All right, so back to Ashe. Ashe, I think that the Arcane Comet build is kind of dead on arrival. Blitzcrank, he's still gonna terrorize silver games. There's just no way around it. Nerfing the base damage does not do. By like 10 to 20 early on, that doesn't do anything. They're missing the mark on that. Ivern, these are really nice bug fixes. Kaisa is getting the nerf she deserves. Whether or not they're hard enough is, it's up for debate, but it's still a step in the right direction. So, Callista. I guess, it helps with making the champion easier for people that are less coordinated. So, I don't know. Maybe low elos will see how broken she is, and then she'll get other nerfs. Whatever. Kale changes actually do hurt. I'm really hoping for Lost Chapter buff still. I've been saying this for about 3 patches now. As soon as that happens, you'll probably just end up having to buff Kale back up again. But until then, this will probably take her to an low A tier pick at best. AP Rock is dead. Yeah. Nautilus. Yeah, this doesn't impact Nautilus. The reason this doesn't impact Nautilus, but this impacts Malphite, is AP Rock is going to be stacking like 400, 500 damage, and it's going to be spread out among 3, 4 champions. So at 400 AP, knocking it down 80 damage is really knocking it down 320 damage spread across 4 targets. So yeah, this actually hurts for him, whereas this does not really hurt for him. Pantheon, it helps in niche cases. Sedge, I guess it buffs your mid game. I'll probably just end up messaging Darvek or something, say like, "Hey, buddy, what do you think of these changes?" Whatever. I don't understand. I honestly don't understand them. I guess they feel nicer later on, but that's when like all the carry junglers are popping off anyway, so Sedge isn't even relevant at that point. Silas, It's good for brainlets. The magic resist change, that's going to be pretty big though. I think that 3 extra magic resist will help him more than anything else. And then, of course, Xayah's, I think, is a pretty. I give it like a B plus as a change. So, yeah, there's that. Pretty quick patch though. Not much is going to change. I don't really think this is going to shake up the meta at all. I'd say just wait till 9.23, or as I'm pretty sure it's going to be called, preseason 10. So, I'll see you guys then. All right, peace out.